بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. This is the seventh session of Islamic theory of management. Alhamdulillah. We said management is a set of activities that include planning, decision making, organizing, leadership, and controlling our resources in a very efficient way in order to reach our aims and objectives. Alhamdulillah, we have talked about planning and decision making. Last week we talked about organizational side, and now we want to talk about leadership. Whenever you are leading an organization or a business, whatever, you must know that I am not saying how many percentage. I cannot say 50%. I cannot say any number, but I can say great percentage of the success of any organization depends on the leader. And this is actually one of the challenges for pious people, because they are never satisfied with themselves. And as soon as there is a problem, they first question themselves. If I am not a God-fearing person, whenever there is a problem, I put all the blame on others. For example, I put the blame on my staff, on my employees, I don't know, on the market and other things. But a mu'min, first of all, questions himself. Al-mu'minu dhaninun binafsih. Mu'min is not suspicious normally, unless it's a bad society that everyone is cheating, then you have to be suspicious. But generally speaking, we should not be suspicious. The only person that we have to be always suspicious about is ourselves. We have to be suspicious about ourselves, because our ego makes it very difficult for us to understand our flaws, our mistakes, our problems, unless we are very carefully examining ourselves to the level of suspicion. So, a mu'min is always aware that I have a great responsibility. A good leader, a good manager makes great part of the success. It's not 100%. You can be someone like Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, and you are not able to make that much success because your followers don't listen. Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam says, La ra'iya liman la yuta'a. The one who is not obeyed has no opinion. Means his opinion is not effective. So it is true that even the best leaders and the best managers, sometimes in the wrong condition and the wrong context, cannot function that much. But to reach that conclusion is very difficult. And a moment never easily reaches to that point that say, I am very good and everyone is bad. Whenever a moment is faced with difficulties, for example, if I am imam of a community, or I don't know, I am head of a madrasa, or I am head of a company, if I am a true mu'min and I see there are problems, I always question my own performance, my own behavior. Did I really exercise my role properly? Was I able to inspire people and to pump them all the time with motivation, encouragement, or not? So leaders have great role. Sometimes we see that a person with vision and with right tactics takes something from zero to a very high level of success. We see something that didn't exist over 20, 30 years becomes a universally recognized entity. In religious matters happen, in science happens, in business happens, in technology happens. So one person can be very important. One person can attract good people and keep them encouraged, and then they can really make a big difference. But if there is no good leadership, even if you have the most intelligent and dedicated people, little by little, they lose their momentum. Then they start, being negative. They start criticizing each other. Bad leaders can really kill the momentum. So leadership is very, very important. A good leader for organization, a good manager, is the one that is able to show to everyone in that organization the value of the work that they do. When you are with good leaders, when you are with good managers, you feel your work is the most important thing that you can do. And you wish you had more energy to give, more talents to give, more skills to give. Even when you are at home, you want to think about how I can improve. When you love your leader, when you love your manager, you always want to do something more. But if you don't love your leader or your manager, you think even that 8 hours that I work is too much. I wish I was not required to work that much. And in this way, your talents would not come out. I don't think anyone would be able to succeed if you reduce your attention to fixed hours. I don't think any poet, any artist, any sportsman or woman, any scholar would be able to succeed if wants to say, I, for example, work 8 hours 40 per day, 40 hours per week, and then try to be very effective, and I will gain success in this way. No, it seems this is not the model. You have to stretch yourself. You have to exercise hard. And it is when you reach your limits and you reach the threshold that your real skills and talents emerge. Not when you are relaxed, when you are just ordinarily working. Good leaders, good managers are those that make us unable whether you like it or not like it. They make us unable to divide our life into two portions. One is personal and one is for the work. Good leaders and managers make us live with our life in a holistic way, and day and night we think about the success of our entity under that leadership or management. If I am, for example, working for a community and we have a very great scholar, or we are working in a house, I have a great teacher, or we are in a charity organization, we have a very great inspiring leader, then I would like to do everything, and I will be thinking about it day and night for the sake of success of that organization. In any case, leaders are very, very important. And if Allah has given you opportunity to work with great leaders and great managers, you have to be very thankful. We have many things about qualities of leadership that we can talk about. But before that, I would like to mention some aspects of good leadership. And in particular, I would like to emphasize on the fact that one of the challenges, and this has been one of the reasons I started this course, one of the challenges that we have is how much we need to exercise power, how much we need to exercise discipline. You all have more or less experience of working, and there are people that unfortunately, unless there is fear, unless there is worry of losing something, they don't cooperate. And when there is a moral person head of that organization, sometimes they take advantage because they know this person is not going to get angry with them quickly, is not going to dismiss them quickly. They know that he considers them as his own family, as his own children. They are all dear to him. Even if he is upset with them, he's not going to react. So one of the challenges of a moral leadership and moral management is how to keep the organization in good shape and discipline, and at the same time not to compromise about your moral principles. This is very, very difficult. Some of you remember that we talked about Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam in the first session, that how he said to his people that I know how to correct you, but I don't want to correct you by corrupting myself. I don't want to do your islah by ifsad of myself. How we can make sure that the people who work with us are very organized. They never come late. They never, delay things. They never deal with the customers or people that are benefiting from our services. They don't treat them badly without us being frightening figure. This is a big challenge. And I think it is very, very important that we would establish procedures that would not let any person to take advantage of the kindness or caring character of the manager or leader, and at the same time we do not let this kindness disappear totally, because many people after some time then they may say, okay, no, I have to change my behavior. It's not good for these people. So this is one issue that I wanted to talk. Another issue is that a good leader has to be very good in communicating. A good manager has to be very good in communicating. Of course, you have to decide about the levels of communication. There are things that you need to communicate to all your staff. There are things that you need to communicate to your managers, to heads of departments. There are things that you need to communicate even to people who are outside your organization. But for sure, you should not be hesitant in communication. The first principle should be to communicate unless there is an issue. Unfortunately, some people are very secretive, and this is not normally good. To be secretive about certain issues is important, but to be secretive as a general characteristic is not good. We human beings are, first of all, to be communicating. Allah says in the Quran, Ar-Rahman khalaqa al-insan, Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran, Quran khalaqa al-insan, allamahu al-bayan. Teaching the Quran, creating us, and teaching us bayan. Communication is very important for us. A good manager should communicate. Keep communicating your aims, what you want to achieve, how much progress has been made, how much we have to go. Keep talking to your people. Communicate the challenges, the things for which they need to find solutions. Communicate opportunities. Communication also is not one way. By creating this channel and opening discussion, you let them also to talk to you. So, if you are a good manager or leader, you don't need to use your power of, I don't know, being able to dismiss or, to make, penalty or, increase or decrease the payment of people. No, a good manager, the power that he has is mostly from his logic and his way of communicating in a spirit of trust. When people know that I am not a selfish person, I have no egoistic reasons for managing this entity, and I communicate to them constantly, and they are on the same page with me, that's my main source of power. They consider me as a father, as a caring person that they can trust. And they know that I am not myself happy. I am trying to improve. And everyone feels that they also want to help me. So communication is very important. Making other people also feel part of your team. A good leader would lead in such a natural way that doesn't let a wall of too much respect be created between him and his people. This is very important, that when we read in, the stories of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and our pious scholars, we see that they were treating people in a very a special way that was not letting them develop an exaggerated opinion about them. Imam Ali was not letting people to respect him like a king, to flatter him, or to be very much, I don't know, too much respectful. Love is something, but to be internally feeling inferior is something else. People who are interested in power, like some kings, for example, I don't know, some people who have power, they love people to feel inferior in front of them. But prophets and imams, they want people not to feel inferior. They want people to feel honorable. They want them to have equal respect. Their love for them is not because they feel inferior or because they feel these are superhuman beings. I would like to quote for you this as a sample from Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. He said, فَلَا تُكَلِّمُونِي بِمَا تُكَلَّمُ بِهِ الْجَبَابِرَةِ وَلَا تَتَحَفَّظُوا مِنِّي بِمَا يُتَحَفَّظُ بِهِ عِنْدَ أَهْلِ الْبَادِرَةِ. Don't talk to me in the way that tyrants are spoken to. When people speak to a tyrant, they are very worried what I'm going to say if I make a mistake, if I'm not showing too much respect, they may, kill me, they may create problem for me, I may lose my job. Too much, flattering. Amir al-Mu'minin said, don't speak to me like this. And do not hide things when you want to talk to me in the way that you hide from people who are angry and people who are tyrants. He was not even letting people to have a special way of welcoming him or escorting him when he was traveling as a Khalifa. The late Imam Khomeini is very well known in his life histories that he never let any student after his lectures to accompany him. It's very natural that some students would escort the teacher. They want to spend more time with the teacher. So they say, let's go with the teacher to his home, and on the way we can ask him questions, we can learn from him, benefit from him. It's very natural. But Imam Khomeini was very careful because there is hadith that ما خفقت النعال خلف رجل. The shoes have not come together behind a person unless that person has been destroyed. So he was not letting a talaba to go with him. He was saying, if you have any question, please let me, what's your question? And then saying goodbye, and he was walking alone. He was so much careful about this. So a good leader is loved, but is not someone that people are afraid of. So this is also very important. I mentioned quickly some of the qualities that we can try to observe as a good manager and good leader very quickly. First of all, people in the organization and outside the organization, they should know that there is leadership. There should not be anarchy. There should not be chaos. Some people unfortunately, they are not that much present. Either physically they are not present, or even if physically they are present, they are not aware of the organization. They don't know what is happening. Everyone is doing his own way. This is not good. One leadership from the top to the bottom should be keeping the organization together. So this is very important, that people should know that they are dealing with a living, organic organization who has a leader, who has a manager. Especially people who work in the organization, they should know this. They should know that whatever they do, sooner or later, will be noticed by the leader. So, strong leadership. Some of the qualities of a good leader or manager: not to be a person who is stubborn. A strength doesn't mean to be stubborn. You can be very good, very wise, very knowledgeable, very experienced, but still, this should not let you become stubborn or insistent. Actually, those who are wise, those who are experienced, they are always happy to learn. They are always happy to listen. Those who are not happy to learn and listen, actually, this is a sign of lacking wisdom and experience. These are normally people who are new, who are naive, who are worried, who feel weak and vulnerable. When some people for the first time become, manager, they are very worried. They don't want to listen to anything. They want to pretend they know everything. This is a problem. Experience, wisdom brings confidence, and confidence would make it easy for you to listen and to accept new things. You should create a situation that people can share with you their ideas, and should not let flattering become a culture in your organization. People should not think by hiding the truth and just giving you a kind of mispresented truth, they can win your heart. Unfortunately, there are always such people. They don't really love you. I'm not saying everywhere, but it's common. They don't really love you. They respect you today because you have the power. They come and say bad things about previous people in order to make you happy with them. Never let them to gain close to you by attacking your previous successors. Never let them get close to you by keeping, telling you things which are not true. If you are a wise person, you have a realistic assessment of yourself, and you should be able to understand who is exaggerating. If you are not able to understand who is exaggerating, you have a big problem. You have to create a chance for people to share their honest view. You should be consulting, as we discussed in details before. You should have moments of standing firm with your decisions, but not always. One of my teachers used to say that a sign of a great man is that sometimes he changes his view. Normally, people say a man would not change his view. Yes, a man would not change his view if he has committed himself to something. If I make a promise, I should keep it. But if I made a decision and then I realized that it was a mistake, so I should change my view. It's sign of my strength if I'm able as a manager to declare that I made mistake and now I am going to make another decision. But if you keep changing your decisions, that's a problem. It means that in the first place you were not careful. But it can happen that sometimes you change your decision. A good manager should himself love this job. If you don't really love your job, you cannot be a good manager. It's better to give it to other people. It is actually your love that should give love to other people to the work. If I don't love, people can really sense that. If for me this is just a side issue, a marginal thing, I'm not able to make that organization a great organization. Patience is very important. Managers need great patience in their leadership. And trustworthiness and amana is very important aspect of leadership. Especially what I would like to add is your staff may have some weaknesses, may have some issues, some problems. You as a leader, as a manager, are like a father, like a mother, and you should know how to deal with their weaknesses. Unfortunately, some leaders, when they know weakness of some of their staff, they use it as a means to control them, to frighten them and say, I know this, and if you don't act as I like, I'm going to use it against you. But this is not Islamic management. In Islamic management, if they have weaknesses, you become more concerned about them and you try to help them as you want to help your children. A good manager is a good murabbi. Not only make sure that the organization is improving, but also make sure that the people who work there are improving, their families are improving. So this is also very important. Inshallah, in the next session, we will talk about control and monitoring, which are very important aspect of management, and I don't want to talk about it today because that by itself is an important section. I just pray at the end that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would help us to be doing justice to any responsibility that we have undertaken. We cannot run away from responsibility, but we should not undertake also any responsibility without being sure that we can do justice. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help our managers, our leaders, any person who is doing something collectively. We ask Allah to help them to achieve His pleasure and to achieve success in their efforts. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen.